For those unfamiliar with Debbie Stroman, she hails from a small black community known as Plebs, short for Mount Pleasant. Very black. It was she transcended them, emerging as one of the most exceptional basketball players and one of the finest female players from the area. This award is a tribute to the historic community, as Debbie often remarks, and it mirrors her essence. Deb played a pivotal role in shaping my career as an educator. She enlightened me in African American studies, a subject I was unfamiliar with. Her guidance led me to discover a deeper truth beyond the conventional narratives taught in schools today. She provided unwavering support and encouragement through numerous phone calls, emails, Zoom calls, and text messages. Thanks to her influence, I'm in my 6th year of teaching African American history at Melbourne Prep. She has also guided my daughter, Kennedy, in her basketball journey, nurturing her with growth in sports. It inspires me to see how Debbie's spirit lives on in my daughter. Now, enough about what she's done for me. Let's talk about her incredible career. Debbie was born and raised just outside of Philadelphia and now closed Valley Forge Army Hospital, and she splits her time between Chapel Hill and Costa Rica. She attended the University of Virginia, where she became the first black female to earn a full-ride basketball scholarship and captain the team her senior year. Although she had offers to play professional overseas, she chose instead to become the national director for the NCAA's Volunteers for Youth program, mentoring young athletes. Debbie later earned her master's degree from the University of North Carolina, where she was the first black female coach for women's basketball and helped the team win an ACC championship. After 17 successful years of financial services, she completed her business leadership and organizational management doctorate. She's been a professor at UNC since 2007 and holds an adjunct faculty role at UVA, specializing in sports business and racial equity education. Today, she directs the Black Men's Brain Health Conference during Super Bowl week, works closely with the Alzheimer's Association, and even hosts retreats for men of color in Costa Rica. I'll be going to the next one. Although she's no longer playing basketball competitively, you'll find her supporting UVA sports, broadcasting the UNC basketball, and running the weekly podcast, If You Only Knew. Deb loves to walk, ride her e-bike, lift weights, and travel in her free time. With all she's done, it's an honor to introduce a woman who paved the way for others and continues to help along the way. My Aunt Debbie. You want him in?
Excuse me. Thank you so much, Dante. You know how much I love you, your family and friends. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, Carly, Fran, Stacy, the 2010, 2011, 2012 Boys Lacrosse team, and Hall of Fame members in attendance. It's nice to be home where we properly say the word W-A-T-E-R, water. It's wonderful to be home. For someone who speaks regularly, I'm somewhat at a loss of words at this time of recognition. For those of you who've not done the math yet, it's been 47 years, nearly a half a century since I was running up and down the court as a pioneer. Wow. There are so many people to thank for my journey as an athlete, and in particular, the fun and accomplishment as a girls basketball player at Conestoga. There's no doubt that my heart is filled with joy at this time, but I do share with you the regret of not having my mother, Bree, and my stepfather, Jim, here to celebrate this induction with me. Jim was my backbone, and my mother is and was my heart. Everything that I've accomplished, and I'm not finished yet, is done in honor of her unconditional love and the lessons taught. Mom's quiet spirit taught me determination, the love of books, and how to make a lot from a little, and the passion of sports. She played basketball at TE and on a women's team. I think it was called the Mainline Chicks. And this is when girls basketball was 6-on-6, 3 forwards, 3 guards, and then player movement was very restricted. During these very challenging economic and political times today, it's important to know and respect those who are in your corner, your family, by blood or by spirit. The people who think of you with kindness, with love, and care when you're not in the room. Those who will take your call and respond to your text regardless of the time of day. The family that will celebrate your wins and in the same breath give you real talk and tell you when you're wrong. The folks who grew up with you and realize that as we age, our values remain the same. The person who reminds you that you're never alone. So I'm very grateful to Dante, Dr. Sean Jackson, cousins Charles Taborn and George Fells, and Jerome Cooper. And so I'm going to ask you to please stand and remain standing. I would also ask all of my family, my guests here tonight, to stand because I love you too. And know that you've always been and will always be my family. Thank you. Okay. This community knows me. We grew up together or grew as friends together. They know that I was born and bred in Mount Pleasant, that special, historically Black enclave in Wayne that has produced so many amazing, bright minds and athletes. Mount Pleasant molded me. It made my career at Conestoga possible. I walked into Conestoga ready with the skills, the confidence, and sense of unity to triumph. I will never forget our community center, a physical building filled with hope. That is books and people enthusiastic about creating pathways for success, academically and athletically. After school every day, my gang of friends participated in activities that nurtured creativity. We did a lot with a few resources. We rode our bikes through Wayne and Main Line. We played kickball, hide-go-seek, football, and most of all basketball until the street lights came on. We played hoops without a net, sometimes with a chain link net, and you know what chain links can do to basketball over time. Sitting inside the house was abnormal. I think there's something to be said for not having computers and video games that tend to keep children away from nature and physical contact with others, but I digress. The neighborhood was nurturing, as nearly every household was welcoming, a refuge, a place of safety. I remember Mount Pleasant block parties, cookouts, and church activities, walking through the woods with no fear of bugs or animals, and certainly no strangers, as a shortcut to the adjacent avenue. Girls and boys competed against each other and pushed one another without bullying to be better. I took that grounding and instruction to Conestoga. 3 of my peers, or teachers, of this strong competitive spirit are no longer with us. My cousin Kenny Durrell, Penny Deans, and PJ Carter. May they rest in peace and power, my family. I wore number 10 as a tribute to my favorite player, Walt Frazier, of the New York Knicks. Frazier was my idol. Sorry, Sixers player. My mom was so supportive. I never asked for much, but she did graciously buy me the new white leather Chucks, or as you all might know as Converse, for my senior year. I never knew how much that expense affected her budget that month. And I only wore those sneakers for Conestoga games, not in practice. I like to believe that those sneakers were charmed and made me a better player. I also wore a white wristband and knee pads. Players today would surely laugh at my attire. My mom also sent me to overnight basketball camps for a few years. I went to Blue Star and Poconos and Kathy Rush basketball camps. I became friends with and met players and coaches who became some of the greatest basketball players, greatest people in women's basketball. The Philadelphia area was known as the hotbed of top talent. At those camps is where I first met my college coach, Hall of Fame coach Debbie Ryan, as a sixth grader. I wasn't a great scorer at Con, and we used to call it Con. I know today you call it Stoga, okay? But I really enjoyed the role of being an all-round player. Unlike today's specialization in sports, our entire team played other varsity sports. In addition to hoops, I played volleyball, softball, and was our football manager. We were all tomboys and enjoyed the access, the attention, and confidence that moniker gave us. We were confident, disciplined, and cool. Our teams were very good, and we won or were close to winning Central League championships every year. I remember our toughest opponents were Ridley and Marple Newtown. There was a narrative that they were always going to be very physical competitors. In fact, we considered them farm girls, beefy and stout and strong. I give thanks to the care and resources provided by Conestoga, including the athletic bus. What would I and many of my Mount Pleasant friends have become as athletes without regular transportation after school to get home from practice? My mom was at work or at home resting from a long day. Special thanks to Coach Gerald Gasser, who became athletic director, may he rest in peace, Kathy Clark, and Karen Marley for their support of me as a student leader and player. A few years ago, one of my favorite students gave me a book as a gift, and I treasure this book. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, and I strongly recommend it. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. The messages and illustrations in this bestseller are profound and simple. Through their journey together, 4 characters offer us a perspective on life and relationships. What values do you hold? How do you respond to pressure? Who do you encourage and inspire? What is the next chapter that you want to create in your life? What gives you hope? They find themselves through a conversation. One of my favorite lines from the book that I actually share in my digital work signature at times is the statement by the mole. He says, "I think everyone is just trying to get home. I think everyone is just trying to get home." I agree. We're human beings, and that means we're social beings, all seeking connection and grounding. We need a family, one that we are born into or one that we create. In fact, one of the cruelest things to happen to a human being is to be subjected to isolation, to be alone for an extended period. To be excluded is a form of rejection, which generally leads to depression, a loss of hope. Today, I stand here tonight being recognized for my connection and impact to a community, to a family, to Conestoga, my home, and I'm ever grateful. So as you recognize me, I recognize you. I take and I have taken Conestoga with me over these past 4, nearly 5 decades. I never forgot Conestoga. I represent you. I speak proudly of this institution and how it is both good and great. And I thank you, Conestoga, for not forgetting me. And so my call to action and reminder for those of you who work or volunteer with Stoga to remember that there are young people who attend Stoga who are trying to get home. They may not have the resources or the wherewithal, even though they live in one of the wealthiest counties in this nation, to figure things out without your additional guidance and attention. Use your imagination to build something new that will address their needs. Challenge tradition and structure that can cause harm and disenfranchisement. You all know what's going on in this area. It mirrors what's happening in this nation. There are small communities that are being marginalized. Rejection and depression are destroying lives and families. Identify new partnerships, extend an olive branch to people and places that are considered lost and out of touch. They may need your magic. They may need your care. Please stay close to the least, to the left out, to the locked out. And if you can do it through sports, that is the bonus. Help people find home. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Conestoga. I thank you for this induction.